Welcome back to the Ed Morrissey Show podcast. Joining us, as always, the Prince of Twitter, the Regent of RedState.com, Andrew Malcolm of RedState.com.
There we go.
Yeah, well, you know, kind of prosaic there. He's at AH Malcolm on X/Twitter, and he's on fire every single day of the week, including his most recent two columns. I gotta say, I mean, I think the big story this week is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is freezing her eggs. That's the big story, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it is. It certainly has me riveted. Jeez.
Yeah, that was. I have a whole post coming up on that one.
There's when somebody says something like that nobody asked about, I'm always tempted to wonder why.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think she's trying to be a normal female too. So,
well, I mean, if you want to be a normal female, go ahead and have the kids now. I mean,
yeah, but actually, part of the problem, we are not replacing the Americans dying off, so we're not in the replacement mode, and one of the reasons women are marrying later and then having babies later, or fewer of them, or not marrying at all. So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
it's not something we have to worry about, I don't think.
Well, okay, so one of the issues here is whether or not she's actually married, because she has been claiming Riley Roberts as a spouse and not a spouse, depending on which type of disclosure or privilege she wants. She is dealing with. She won't name him as a spouse for financial disclosures, but she treated him as a spouse for some interesting bennies and the House Ethics Committee called her out on it last week. I referred to it in my post as Riley Roberts is Schrodinger's spouse. He's both a spouse and not a spouse at the very exact same time. You know, Schrodinger's cat, you know, that's that whole, you know, philosophical thing. The cat is dead and alive at the same time sort of thing. I mean, it's Riley Roberts is a spouse and not a spouse. He's Schrodinger's spouse. And the reason why I think all of this is going on is because she wants to run for president starting next year. She doesn't want to disclose Riley Roberts's source of income or wealth because I think it is going to prove to be embarrassing. I think he probably made it on Wall Street, or he's doing, you know, high finance type stuff that supposedly she detests. And she doesn't want to have to explain it.
And she's parking her side gig money over there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think there's the House Ethics Committee. This whole thing came up with the that Met Gala thing where she wore that. This is from a couple of years ago, where she wore that dress that said "Tax the Rich" on the back, and it turns out that it was a $35,000 dress that somehow didn't get accounted for, and the tickets to the gala, she got him a ticket to the gala because he's a spouse, and therefore, you know, had an exception to it, to paying his own way, except that he's not a spouse, because if he was an actual spouse, they'd have to disclose his finances, and they don't want to do that. It's this whole thing.
Games they play.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game. So she's out there saying, "Well, I am just." She's doing she's doing videos of her freezing her eggs, right? Which some very special version of hell that we must all go through. She's putting out these videos about her going through the process of freezing her eggs, so that she can claim that, well, this is what women have to go through. Right, that women have to answer these questions.
Who made her do that?
It's the patriarchy, Andrew. You're
Yeah,
laughing. You're
yeah,
laughing, and that's part of the patriarchy too. I'm laughing, but I'm a dues-paying member of the patriarchy. I mean,
the oligarchy of patriarchy.
these people. I mean, it's all performative, right? I mean, if she
Oh
wants to
yeah,
freeze her eggs, that's her choice. The thing is that they're treating this like it's some sort of unusual event. There's tens of thousands of these procedures done every year.
yeah.
I actually looked it up. I looked
Did
this
you?
up
Yeah.
because I
Of
did my
course you did.
research on this. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I have no life, Andrew. I have no life. It's the
you're
reason why
not
I'm talking about this.
you're not freezing your eggs.
I am not freezing my eggs. I have no life. Yeah, because I wanted to do some research on this, and it's egg freezing has been non-experimental for 13 years now, and it has grown exponentially every year. And the last year that we have solid data on this was 2023, when over 40,000 women had went through this egg freezing process, and I'm sure it's much higher than that now. Um, so this is not unusual. It's the only thing that she's saying is that, well, people ask women about whether they're going to have children, and how that will interfere with their their political goals. They don't ask men that. Well,
Yeah, what's
yeah,
up with that?
what's up with that? What's up with egg freezing? I
Yeah,
remember when the big question around eggs was just whether you wanted them scrambled or over easy.
that's right.
Exactly right, Andy.
So, the whole thing here is, like I said, it's performative. She wants to come across as some sort of martyr. And I recall, and I know you do too, 18 years ago when Sarah Palin ran for Congress while she
Yeah,
was still in her fertility years, and how the left climbed all over her for her family situation, right?
yeah, yeah.
I mean, so the only people I ever heard talking about this stuff were people on the left, frankly, with Sarah Palin. Otherwise, women run for office all the time. Nobody talks about this. Primarily, maybe because maybe the women are older when they're going into the Senate or the House. Maybe not so much
Yeah.
the House. We've had women who've had children while they're serving in the House, and nobody thinks twice about that.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You're performative is that to get in the news. See, they've been talking in the news a little bit too much about Kamala Harris running, and so she wants to
Ah,
replace that.
that might be it. Actually, Kamala Harris was drunk videoing. I did you?
Yeah.
Was this last week? I am forgetting what she was talking about. The only thing I know is that it took her. Oh, it was voter ID, right? And in the first minute, there were at least a dozen cuts. And she could not read this thing off, apparently. And one thing, the most humorous of these was there was a single cut for the word "why." Right? Republicans want to do this. Cut. Why? Cut. Seriously?
But I have maintained that the answer to when they ask her, "Are you going to run?" and she says, "I might," or she doesn't say anything, she winks or something. That's all just to keep her speaking fees inflated for another year or two. Um, I don't think I can't imagine she has a prayer of she's never run in a primary yet. She's never gotten a vote for anything
Yeah.
except
So
tagging on.
she ran in 2019, but never made it to Iowa or New Hampshire. She dropped out
No,
about three
yeah, there
months
were no
before. Yeah.
votes. She quit before then because Tulsi took her to the cleaners.
Twice.
Yeah.
Clingers twice. Yeah, it was pretty brutal. Look, I don't think that you I guess she's going to run. Kamala now I'm talking about. Kamala's gonna run. But I don't suspect she's going to get far. She's leading some of the polls, right? I know that we're talking about, it's actually coming
Hypothetical.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hypothetical, but it's actually kind of coming up because after these midterms are over, the 2028 presidential election cycle is going to start pretty soon afterwards, right? You're going to start seeing people jumping in around January, and it might be Kamala. Kamala might be one of them. AOC might be one of them. I can't imagine either one getting very far, though.
I'm sorry. I always thought AOC was going to challenge Schumer.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense, frankly. I mean,
it does. It does if you're stepping up, because she's so young. She just qualified age-wise.
Yeah, she's 36. So, I mean, technically she could run for president, but yeah, I mean, I think you check out yourself statewide first. We've talked about this before. Do you know the last president who got elected from the House of Representatives?
Was it Lincoln?
No, it was a little after Lincoln, actually. It was James Garfield, who unfortunately didn't live long. He was assassinated not long after taking office. There was a really good movie on, I think it's on Netflix, or it's a miniseries called Death by Lightning about James Garfield. It's really good. I'd recommend. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it or not.
No,
but I'd really recommend it. Death by Lightning. It's a really good. It's really good. It gives you a better sense of who James Garfield was and who Chester Arthur was.
You know, I may have seen that. Yes, I think I may have. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, well, this is a good lead into the column, talking about what the Democrats are in such a mess. Oh,
this was my intention, was to give you sort of a
layup
to get into your columns. Yeah.
He gives me a feed for the layup. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know anything about basketball, but I know I like to watch Sophie and Caitlin play.
There you go. Well, we can talk about that maybe, but let's go to what's been going on with the Democrats in this cycle, which is that you're saying desperate Democrats falling for socialism and worse, definitely worse when it comes to Abdul al-Sayed, who won in Michigan last week, which almost didn't. He almost didn't win. Haley Stevens almost came back and pulled that off. She won Detroit, which surprised me. And I think Democrats are in real trouble in Michigan. And not just Michigan.
I don't know if they're in trouble for what they are doing, I think, is relying on the traditional momentum of midterms going against the president's party, because they haven't really established any alternative except Trump is bad. And, spinning their wheels over government shutdowns, Booker giving his marathon speech as if that matters. The screw up with their autopsy of 2024 was such a terrible job. And the pathetic leadership they have it leaves it wide open for socialists to come in and appeal to younger people who don't know the history of socialism or don't care. They know that Democrats are fond of freebies. So, what's his name? Mamdani was elected. There was 1,000 foreign-born Muslims. I mean, 1 million foreign-born Muslims in New York City. So he rode on that wave. And they've got some DSA people elected there, and then Colorado, and now Michigan, like you said. If he wins in Michigan, he'll be the first Muslim in the Senate. So they seem to be making strides, and I saw that well, I don't know if it was a confrontation, but disruption. There was some Texas city that approved a huge expansion of a mosque there.
Yeah, that's a big fight here in Texas. I know I know the community they're talking about. I just can't name it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But people talk. Yeah, I mean, it's been an issue.
Well, I saw something where they since 2020 that there have been something like 80 new mosques just in the Dallas area. And I saw a tweet, and I retweeted it earlier today, Monday, about somebody pointing out there's, well, we're at war with Muslims in Iran, but looks like we're electing them to public office. They've been elected in primaries to run in the
I was going to
general.
say that was a distinction I was going to make, was that these are
Yeah.
primaries, and in some cases, like the New York City House seats and the one in New Jersey, they're going to win it. They're going to win in the general election because these are heavily Democratic districts. Think about Michigan and Wisconsin, by the way. Both Wisconsin is going to have their primary. Well, we'll put this up on Tuesday, but we're recording it on Monday. They're having it today, right? Meaning Tuesday, along with Minnesota, by the way. And Wisconsin and Michigan are not deep blue electorates, right? I mean, it's got, you've got deep blue pockets in every state, but Wisconsin and Michigan voted for Donald Trump 2 years ago. And Mike Rogers, who's running for the Senate this cycle, also ran for the other Senate seat in the previous cycle against Alyssa Slotkin. And it was a really close run race against Alyssa Slotkin, who's actually a really good politician. I mean, she's a Democrat, and I don't like the policy sets that she has, but she's a good politician. She knows what she's doing. And more importantly, she knows how to reach out to the center, right? And that's what she did. She appealed to the center and was able to win that Senate seat in the same election that Donald Trump won the presidential election there. Well, that's not Abdul al-Sayed. Abdul al-Sayed is still partnering around with Hassan Piker. Hassan Piker, who said that he wants the streets to run with capitalist blood, who has said publicly that America deserved 9/11. And a whole lot of other stuff. I mean, he says a bunch of crazy stuff. And Piker isn't just some guy who's supporting Abdul al-Sayed. Al-Sayed has him on stage with him for campaign events. And Kristen Welker at NBC this weekend said, "Are you going to continue to use Hassan Piker?" And al-Sayed would not answer that question.
Which means he is.
Yeah, which means he is, right, exactly. So, I mean, so you're writing about this. Do you think that this is going to be a situation where Democrats are going to lose winnable elections like the Republicans did in 2012, and for that matter in 2020 too, by running bad candidates, extreme candidates in cycles where they could have won with a more traditional approach?
I honestly don't know. You can make an argument two ways. One, history says that the midterms go against the president's party. So, except for special circumstances like 9/11 or something. But so you would expect that, and I think Democrats are coasting, hoping that comes through because it's a clown car. Otherwise, they haven't done anything. They've elected some socialist candidates, as you point out, Colorado, and we'll find out about Wisconsin. But I don't know that it's the appeal of socialism. It's the distaste for what the Democrat Party is now. 70% of Democrats are unhappy with their party. Well, okay, so they're looking for something else. And if you're not very well informed, you could fall for socialists. We need something fresh and new, and we need free health care for everybody. And you don't talk about how you have to pay for that. Work for Mom Dami in New York. So, I'm a little bit worried about it. The parallel with the Tea Party doesn't really work totally. The Tea Party, erupted in 2010 and sort of libertarian, and some people were wondering, is it going to affect the Republican Party? And they got absorbed, which is the way our two major parties have survived and morphed over what, more than 2 centuries.
Right.
So you would think that socialists would come in and have some effects and some successes. You get these outrages like Ilhan Omar saying that a few people killed a few people on 9/11.
Yeah. Some people
Yeah,
did something. Yeah. Ilhan
yeah,
Omar,
some
some
people
people
did.
did something. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was lovely. Well,
I can.
so let me ask it this way, because you do bring this up. The Republicans are going to actually have a midterm convention. This was Donald Trump's idea. Practically, he insisted on it. The RNC arranged it. It's going to be in Dallas next month on the 9th and the 10th, I think it is. It's Wednesday and
Yeah,
Thursday.
it's the
Right?
first of its kind.
First of its kind. And we're already hearing that the RNC is going to go all in on the socialist, Marxist,
Yeah,
radical thing. They're going to be running clip after clip after clip of all these people speaking publicly to let people know exactly who it is that they're running against. And look, this is smart for Republicans
oh,
because it
yeah,
allows them to make this into a referendum on Democrats'
yep,
radicalism rather than
yep,
Donald Trump's,
yeah,
performance, which
yeah.
is not terribly
Which
popular
is
at the moment.
which is tiresome and it's stale. It's what, 11, 11 years old now. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Do you,
and
so I was going to ask you, how effective do you think this is going to be? You mentioned in your column, and I've been saying the same thing. Hey, look, they're going to do this. They're going to have all this stuff set up. They're going to make this argument. They're going to go all in on Democrats are going the full Marxist. I think it's great. And people keep saying, yeah, but who's watching it? It's going to be preaching to the choir. The only people who are going to be tuning in are the people
yeah,
who
yeah. Well,
would support it.
there certainly will be a lot of that. There's no question about it. I think the impact of these convention things is really the, what would you call it? The echoes, the resonance afterwards, the clips that
Yes.
come out. It's not that people sit down on September 9th and watch Marco Rubio speak and ordinary citizens say how wonderfully they're doing. I think you're right. It's very smart to do this. And the voting, early voting starts just 2 or 3 weeks after that. So I trust Trump's instincts there. Mine would be the same thing. You've got to hit them hard on this and make it about them, not about not playing defense.
Well, and I think when you have Hassan Piker on the campaign trail, it's pretty easy to do that. And this was my analogy. I mean, you and I have talked about the whole Todd Aiken strategy, right? From
Yeah,
2012, Claire McCaskill managed to get the person that she wanted in the race, and very quickly he embarrassed himself, and they used Todd Aiken across every race that year. And Todd Aiken was just the one guy. This
yeah,
is, you got Abdul El-Sayed, you've got Francesca Hong, if she wins the nomination in Wisconsin for governor. You've got Daria Eliza Chevalier. You've got a couple other people in that area. You got Adam Hamawi in New Jersey. These are all, and you still have the ghost of Graham Plattner in Maine. I don't think the Democrat
yeah,
Party can really rid itself of that entirely. And
yeah.
it's a big pattern, right? And
And they
I
joined. I mean, they chose Plattner, knowing all that stuff.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So
So,
I think there's a much better
see,
pattern. Go ahead.
that's what makes me afraid, is that even when that stuff was out, I know Maine tends to be liberal, but even when that stuff is out, they still went for him because they wanted to believe it.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think if you're, who was it? There's an old expression about, I don't know if it was in advertising or financial, whatever, but it says, lie to people who want to believe it. And I think that's what they're doing. And boy, they're getting the nose inside the, what is it? The camel nose inside the tent.
Yeah, I think big time. Yeah, I think it's a real problem.
And there's an awful lot of, I guess it's anger, but frustration with the Democrat Party. They don't think that they've successfully gone after Trump. I mean, talk about Teflon. You think of all the troubles that they have raised about Trump, and he skated right through them. Been expensive. I can't imagine enduring all of that abuse. Trump enduring, and all those indictments and verdicts and trials, and I can't imagine doing that and coming out not only whole but winning. So it hasn't worked. And so the definition of insanity is you keep doing the same thing, hoping for a different result. So I'm hoping that the midterm convention will twist it. Nobody remember how shocking it was when Trump beat Hillary Clinton. I mean, she lost her mind overnight. She couldn't appear that night.
So that was funny. That was amusing.
That was, and I saw Trump speaking. He had a grandchild on his lap in the car on election day in New York, I think it was, and I got the impression that, it may have been what I wanted to see, but I don't think he wasn't confident he was going to win. You have to say that, but I think he was surprised, not as much as Hillary was, but I think he was surprised with his success. And you have to believe there's something going on here when he happens to turn his head a quarter second and the bullet misses, and when he gets elected when he shouldn't have been in 2015 or 16, despite all the uproar about him and the outrage by Democrats, and they were already plotting their impeachment and the Steele dossier and all that stuff. I can't. And he won. And if you look at it, he won, 70,000 votes here, 80,000 there.
Yeah, it was close run.
He gets a swing. Yeah. He's never gotten more votes. In those elections, he didn't get more votes than his opponent, even when he won in 2016. So I don't know. I don't want to talk about another hand, but boy, there certainly have been, and he's skillful. There certainly have been enough coincidences to put him in that place, in this place where he is now. And,
yeah, well, you make your own luck too, though. I mean, he put himself in position to
skill. Yeah. And remember, Republicans and a lot of Americans in the heartland were just as angry at both Washington establishments, which Trump attacked in 2015 and 2016. They were angry at them. So he was coming in, not socialist, obviously, but he was coming in with these people. They're not, you can't trust them. I'm going to come in. And then in his first term, he kept all the promises, which was a shock.
Yeah, that never happens.
Yeah, the guy is a comet. Yeah, whether you like him or not, it's like Halley's Comet. You don't see people like this very often. It's fascinating to watch.
All right. Well, really quickly before we get to the jokes of the day, we brought up Plattner. Did you see that? Did you hear about the guy that they chose to replace him, Troy Jackson? Did you hear about his family situation? We started off talking about AOC's family situation. Let's wrap up with Troy Jackson's family situation.
No, tell me.
Well, it turns out that Troy Jackson has been cohabiting with his second cousin for many years, and they have children together. Never got married, but and I said I really don't want to hear a damn thing about the South ever again after this. I guess there aren't a lot of people in Maine. That's yeah. They really know how to pick them. Democrats really know how to pick them. And my friend Christine Roussel, who's a conservative, so she's not going to support the Democrat anyway. But she says, "Are there any other Democrats up here other than Graham Plattner and somebody who sleeps with his second cousin? Because you'd think that they'd look around to try to find somebody else if they were around."
Oh, I did not know that. That's
Oh
amazing.
yeah,
Well, this
yeah.
is why people come to your show.
Oh yeah, yeah. You get all the information you ever wanted to know about second cousin cohabitation. They're not married, so I can't say marriage, but they have kids together, so whatever, man.
Yeah.
And so this comes out, and of course everybody's like, ew. It's like, ew, ew. And I swear somebody on the left, I forget who it was saying, well, FDR married his cousin, turned out to be a pretty damn good president. FDR married his fifth cousin. Wasn't his second cousin, it was his fifth cousin, which is basically somebody else in town. I mean,
Yeah.
you're that far out. There's really not the ick factor is a hell of a lot lower. So yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the family trees don't branch much in Maine. I guess that's the lesson.
I did a book years ago about I took Route 1, US 1, the first highway from Canada, Fort Kent, Maine, all the way down to what's the end of the Florida? Key West. And with the photographer Roger Strauss, I did a book about Route 1, and I remember Maine was one of the fun places to go along US 1. It was a lot of interesting folks there.
I guess
people that got married and moved 40 miles from their parents and never saw them again. I mean, there was a whole bunch of fun stuff. Yeah, and remember, Maine was the was the crux of the 2000 vote counting controversy. Just real quickly, the Thursday before the election, presidential election, I handled the call at the Bush campaign headquarters. Carl Cameron called up because he'd been Fox News because he'd been fed the old information about George W. Bush's DUI, and that caused Maine partly, because they do it by districts, but partly to go against Bush. And that's why we had the hanging Chad controversy and so on. So Maine, despite its irrelevance, has been in an important historical factor.
I guess so. With that said, it's time for the jokes of the week. I understand you have two. I've got one.
Okay. Well, I'll do one. You do one. I'll do these
good.
are old, obviously. Seth Meyers, he says, Facebook crashed again globally. So there was a very tense period for some hours when nobody could find out which of their friends felt so blessed.
I remember that. I remember that time.
Yeah,
it was tragic.
Etched in your mind, wasn't it?
Etched in my mind. All right. This one's also old, but also from jokesoftheday.net. And I ran across this and I thought, this is a good one. Andrew will appreciate this. So George Bush, Queen Elizabeth, and Vladimir Putin all die and go to hell. While they're there, there's a red phone on the desk. And they ask the devil, what's the phone for? And he says, well, that's for calling back to Earth. So Putin says, well, can I call Russia? He says, sure. So Putin gets on the phone, talks to Russia for 5 minutes, and the devil says, that'll be $1 million. So Putin has to write him a check. And next up, Queen Elizabeth says, well, may I call the United Kingdom? He says, sure. So she calls, she's on the phone for 30 minutes. And the devil says, well, that will be $6 million. So Queen Elizabeth writes him a check. And finally, George Bush gets his turn. He talks for 4 hours to the United States. when he finishes, the devil says, that'll be $5. And Putin's outraged. Putin's absolutely outraged. He says, I paid $1 million. Queen Elizabeth paid $6 million. Why does Bush only have to pay $5? And the devil says, well, since Obama took over, the country's gone to hell, so it's a local call.
It's a local call. Yeah, you remember when you had to call after, what was it, 8 o'clock at night? You got cheaper rates.
Yeah, God, I remember those days well.
And you could call person to person, and then if they weren't there, or you could do a little fraud and ask for somebody who you knew wasn't there, and then they would know that you got back to school safely.
Oh yeah, I remember doing that too. Yeah.
Anyway, well, my second one is Jay Leno, again old. He said the LA City Council has voted to ban plastic bags. You can have plastic boobs, plastic faces, and plastic asses. You just can't have plastic bags anymore.
Well, yeah, but I think if certain people get to be all plastic up, doesn't that make them a plastic bag?
Yeah.
An old plastic bag.
Oh,
What's up with that?
What's up with plastic bags? Why do we have to ban plastic bags? All right. Andrew Malcolm, regent of redstate.com, the prince of Twitter at AHMalcolm on Twitter. Be sure to check him out there and at redstate.com. Until next week, sir, we'll get back and talk about whatever happened this week.
Whatever happened. Yeah, right. I'll see you then. Thanks, everybody.